Man, let's go. Let's get it. P. Diddy was sentenced to 4 years in prison. They didn't sentence P. Diddy to 4 years in prison. They said he was emotional. Uh, the man is a nervous wreck, man. He's gonna have a mental breakdown. Now that he thinking like, damn, I got to do 4 more years of this. Diddy ain't ready for that, bro. He ain't ready for that. No, this is gonna be the hardest 4 years of his life dealing with incarceration. You know, and then he's 55 years old. It's like, you know what I'm saying? When you get that age, man, doing time like that gonna take a toll on you, man. It's gonna take a toll on you, man. So it's just one of them things, man. Like he's too old to be doing prison time. So let's get it. Let's get it. We ain't gonna waste no time. This is exclusive news, man. You know, if he would have did some time in his 20s and 30s, straight. But once you get in your 40s and 50s, man, ain't nobody got time to be doing no, ain't nobody got time for prison. I mean, you really ain't got time for prison anytime, but it's better to do prison time in your 20s and 30s. You know what I mean? Once you get to your 40s and 50s, it's like, man, that's yeah, prison gonna really take a toll on you at that age, man. Man, so let's get into this, man. Where you guys at? Tap on in. Tap on in, man. Let's get it. Do you think Trump is gonna pardon him? It's possible. It's possible that Trump could pardon him. You know, Diddy had a relationship with Trump, but then Trump said, man, Diddy said some things about him that was, Trump said Diddy said some reckless things about him. So who knows? Maybe Trump might be forgiven. We don't know. But he's too old to be serving time in prison. You 55. Even in your 30s, man, like I say, like, even in your 30s, but you might be able to, but once you get into your 40s and 50s, man, prison gonna eat your ass alive, man. You're supposed to be at home with your grandkids, man. You're supposed to be at home with your wife and family.
A sentence in the high-profile Sean Diddy Combs trial. The rapper was convicted on federal prostitution charges back in July. Let's go right now to Fox News national correspondent CB Cotton outside of the courthouse. CB?
Hey, Will, yeah, the judge moments ago sentencing Sean Diddy Combs to 4 years behind bars, telling the court he took into consideration that Diddy was self-made, someone who lifted up others, supported his family. He noted that Diddy did a lot of this while even battling addiction, but he said he had to consider all of the rapper's history. And he said that, specifically, he said, quote, a history of good works can't wash away the record. He pointed out that two of Diddy's accusers and former girlfriends, Cassie Ventura and a woman who testified under the pseudonym Jane, he talked about their testimony specifically. The judge pointing out that after Diddy publicly apologized for the leaked video of him assaulting Cassie, that Diddy assaulted his current girlfriend, Jane. And this sentence handed down 4 years behind bars for Sean Diddy Combs. It comes after Diddy pleaded for mercy, stood up and addressed the judge inside the courtroom. In a shaken voice, he apologized to Cassie Ventura. He apologized to that former girlfriend, again known as Jane. And he said he was sorry to all other victims of domestic violence. Diddy called his own behavior disgusting, shameful, and sick. And he said it cost him his career, his reputation, and his family. He also then turned in the courtroom to his children and apologized for letting them down, saying that he had not been the father they deserved. And he really pleaded with the judge to give him another chance. But again, ultimately, Will, we now know that the disgraced media mogul, who was once at the height of the music industry, has now been sentenced to 4 years behind bars. The judge said that any of Diddy's past good works could not could not overstate the record in this case, the witness testimony from women who said they had to endure years of physical and emotional abuse at the hands of the rapper. Will, I want to send it back over to you.
Quick follow-up, CB. The prosecution was looking for anywhere around 11 years, and the defense team for Diddy was looking for something like 14 months. As you mentioned, it came back at 4 years. Was there any visible reaction by Combs in the courtroom when he was handed down that sentence?
Right now, I'm still waiting to get some more details about the reaction that we saw from both sides inside the courtroom. But, Will, I do want to point out that the judge said that the requests being made on both ends, he said they were not reasonable requests. And I think that determination on his part ultimately led him on that sentence. I'm looking at my producer who's about to hand me a note in a matter of moments, but right now we know this sentence has just been handed down from the judge. 4 years behind bars. Like you mentioned, defense attorneys wanted a 14-month sentence, saying that the time Diddy has already spent behind bars was adequate punishment, arguing today that Diddy's businesses and reputation have already been destroyed. Prosecutors, on the other hand, said Diddy was not sorry and that his apology was phony and that there was some serious harm done to the victims of this case. Like you said, they wanted a sentence of at least 11 years. Ultimately, we know a sentence has now been shared with the court of 4 years behind bars for Sean Diddy Combs.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox.
Yeah, man, that's...
We're following the breaking news as music mogul and convicted felon Sean Diddy Combs is back in court right now for sentencing.
To tell the world their stories of courage. Jane and Cassie Ventura have been through abuse and trauma, and we couldn't imagine a great modern love story, which was something that was said during Mark Agnifalo's closing arguments, where he compared Cassie Ventura and Sean Combs' relationship to a great modern love story. And that's where even the jury started laughing at that moment. I was in the courtroom when he said that. So the judge is bringing up multiple instances in which he does not agree with the arguments that Combs' team was made. But again, this is a big blow to the prosecution, Laura, who wanted more than 11 years for Combs.
All right, Chloe, stand by there. I want to go now to Kristen Gibbons-Fedden, a former prosecutor, someone who worked hard to prosecute Bill Cosby. And Kristen, I want to ask you how our viewers should make sense of this sentence. Obviously, it's not what prosecutors had asked for. It's not what the defense team had asked for either. He's going at great length now to talk about the survivors, talk about the victims, and call them brave survivors who came forward. He wants to make it clear he doesn't think that this was a great modern love story. How do you think survivors should make sense of the sentence that this judge has just handed down, Kristen?
I think it's complicated, right? For victims, I think this is very complicated. On the one hand, it is validation, as you kind of pointed out. The court rejected the idea that these were consensual relationships. The court explicitly recognized Cassie, Jane, and any others and said that their trauma was real. And I think that that acknowledgement matters in ways that can't really be overstated. You know, again, someone who has worked.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Uncle Diggity, man. We monetize on this channel, man. So this is why you guys got to keep the language clean and keep it respectful. We got monetized. I had to clean the channel up, and we achieved our goal, man. So yes, we're gonna move forward. So keep the language clean, and we're gonna continue to do our thing. Yeah.
In the field alongside survivors. It is not only just about the number. It is not only about the charges.
Shout out to Uncle Diggity. Shout out to Uncle Diggity for the super chat.
It's about the recognition. And from this period all the way back to when the conviction was, I'm certain that Cassie and many others in the survivor community felt that their trauma was being somewhat silenced or masked, because Cassie knew that it was about force and coercion, but the charges and the convictions didn't really line that up. And by allowing the court in its sentencing to acknowledge that this was no consent, this was not romantic, there was absolute force, and even the enhancement on recognizing the coercion and her as a vulnerable victim, and even him as a leader of this organization, allowing that to be stated is just such an acknowledgement that I think is going to be powerful. And I think the other thing that's important here is, yes, it's no victory for the prosecution, right? Because again, they asked for 11 years, they got less than half of that. But again, they got to speak the words of the survivors. This was not a consensual romantic relationship. This was 174 drug-fueled coercive episodes.
You know, she believed everything these people say, so she's gonna say, no, they was forced. It wasn't consensual. All right, man, whatever. We already know. But then again, this is NBC. What do you expect from them?
Over the course of decades, or a decade at least. And so 4 years may not seem proportionate, but he's not going home today.
Yeah, and the judge going on here, Kristen, to say these horrible acts were made public and Sean Combs will never be able to wash them away and will be forever associated with him. Again, these are the judge's words. The judge talking to Jane and Cassie, the survivors, directly saying you weren't just talking to the jury, you were talking to women who feel powerless. You gave them a voice. You stood up to power. It's not easy. Interesting, the judge taking special care after handing down this 4-year sentence, again, short of what the prosecution had asked for, to take such a great pains to address the people clearly who are listening, not just in that courtroom, but around the world, about whether they should come forward with claims like this. Chris, I want to ask you, this is the criminal case, which is now over. What happens with the civil claims for women who have brought a number of different claims against Combs for acts that the prosecutors had essentially accused him of here?
Yeah, absolutely. The civil claims are still going to be alive, and they are going to be important. Keep in mind, with the criminal cases, the prosecutor has to prove the conduct beyond a reasonable doubt, right? And the fact that he was acquitted of the elements, the sex trafficking regarding the force, the fraud, the coercion.
Sex trafficking, man. These people don't even know what they don't know what a sex trafficker is. They don't even know what it is. A sex trafficker is somebody who forces somebody to do something against their will. Then you traffic them across state lines, across the country, or whatever. Man, this is crazy. But anyway, man, I'm not caping for Diddy. I'm just saying, I know what sex trafficking really is, and this is not it right here. It's just not it. They painted Cassie as a victim when in reality, she was a willing participant. We see the games that they're playing.
It doesn't mean that couldn't potentially be proven by a preponderance of the evidence, which is a lower standard.
Shout out to Slim. Shout out to Slim for the 20 on the super chat. Shout out to Slim for that super chat, that 20, man. I appreciate you guys, family.
And that's the standard by which the litigators, the plaintiff's attorneys, or the attorneys representing the other survivors.
Shout out to my man, John J, for the super chat as well. I appreciate you, John Jizzle.
Will be able to have to prove. And I think that these convictions and this acknowledgement that there was vulnerability, that there was lack of voluntariness by the court in the
exactly. Shout out to Sir Ism. Diddy, you're not white. You're not Hugh Hefner. So you're going to be found guilty. Shout out to my man, Sir Ism. You already know.
Sentencing, but then also in his words regarding the sentence that he's imposing. I think these are going to be powerful statements and evidence that is going to be used, notwithstanding the fact that all of the evidence that the prosecutors uncovered, both of which was put on as evidence for the trial, and anything else that was precluded from being evidence at trial will be used by the prosecutors and by the plaintiff's attorneys in representing these survivors. And that is all going to be evidence to show that by a preponderance of the evidence, Diddy engaged in these acts against those plaintiffs. And again, those survivors' words are going to be really bolstered by this sentence, by Cassie, by Jane, and by any of the other survivors who have come forward as well.
I want to bring Misty.
Shout out to the Golden Child, man. The Golden Child was rocking with Red Supreme way back in the day, man. When I was doing videos on my damn cell phone, man. Shout out to Golden Child. Shout out to my people out there, man.
Back into this conversation because Misty, you and I were sitting together when the verdict came down, and we talked about whether or not it was actually sort of a cautionary tale about the federal prosecutors in the Southern District of New York perhaps overcharging Combs and going for things that were a reach. And I wonder also whether today was a cautionary tale for the defense, putting out that lengthy PR video, trying to paint him in the best light and wash away all of the violence that he's been accused of. And even interestingly, raising this issue of him speaking, giving sort of class and sort of inspirational classes to men who might be interested in sort of his business advice. I wonder if that sort of backfired for them and whether this is a cautionary tale for both sides.
So I think you're right, Laura, and there were certain aspects of the defense presentation that really didn't make too much sense to me, like that video which went back clips of Combs during times in his career and interfacing with his children. I understand the idea behind it because the whole defense argument relates to a few things. One, that this is a case of somebody who is being targeted. There is a focus on other cases and what those sentences were like in other Mann Act cases, which was by far the best argument for the defense. But in addition to that, there are mitigating factors relating to relationships with family, the fact that his mother is elderly, that he has contributed to the community. But there is a limit to how far that goes, Laura, before it becomes much more hubris than actually motivating the judge to make a decision in their favor. So it was a fine line. The other issue from a defense perspective is that in addition to taking accountability, in addition to remorse, you also always have to be aware that there is an appeal that is pending, that is right around the corner, and there needs to be
you're right, man. Diddy's gonna come from, hey man, his legal team gonna say, hey man, we're gonna need an appeal on this one. So, but you know, Diddy was hoping to get out of jail. You gotta wait on this appeal. That's gonna take damn near, maybe a year. So it's like it's a process, and it's like you sitting in jail the whole time you waiting on this, right? And Diddy want to get back to the money. Diddy want to get back to his family.
Thought about whether or not something that's said in court could actually impact that appellate process. So to me, some of this was a bit heavy-handed on the defense end. I do think at the end of the day, when you're talking about just about 4 years, which is slightly less than what the lower end of what the probation department recommended, obviously a lot more than what he was looking for, this could have been a lot worse. Quite frankly, you could have been more up towards what the prosecution was looking for at 11. It truly could have gone either way. They're before a judge who's not been on the bench very long. There's not a lot of historical data about the way this judge rules in criminal cases. So all in all, he's in a spot that falls on the higher end of the guidelines for the Mann Act without taking into account all those aggravating factors that were presented before the court. So I think there's lessons to be learned on both sides.
Well, that's what's sort of interesting. He's a few months below, actually, where the
of the guidelines for the Mann Act without taking into account all those aggravating factors that were presented before the court. So I think there's lessons to be learned on both sides.
Well, that's what's sort of interesting. He's a few months below, actually, where the probation department had recommended the range was, right? So the probation department says somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 7 years, and he comes down to 4. But yet he took such great pains, and obviously you and I are not in court. He took such great pains, according to at least our producers, to lay out all the violence. And I wonder, what do you think sort of tipped the scales in terms of him not going higher?
Well, I think it's twofold. So first of all, the defense had presented a lot of empirical data of other Mann Act cases in federal court and had shown many, many cases, I believe it's about 60, where there had been a downward departure, meaning less than what the guidelines recommend for cases where there were convictions of the Mann Act only. Remember, these judges, especially...
Man, this is crazy. Like I said, Diddy is guilty in a court of morality, but transporting a prostitute, nah, that's not accurate. Human sex trafficking, that's not accurate. But we understand why Diddy's in jail, right? He's not Hugh Hefner. They're going to come for you.
In federal court don't work in a vacuum. They're looking at results of similar cases. That's the purpose for the guidelines. That's the purpose for looking at other sentences that have come down in the federal.
Listen, man, you can support the Cash App. I prefer you support the Cash App, but if you want to hit the Super Chat, hit the Cash App. The Cash App is on the screen. We got Venmo. Subscribe to the channel. We gonna chop up game, man. I'm gonna try to get to this link real early, man.
federal system. So all of that is being taken into consideration. And then, Laura, in addition to identifying what factors are going to be taken into consideration, which was that analysis we heard at the beginning about the guidelines, where this type of case falls, but what other things can matter, like violence, like drug use. The judge is also taking that remorse and rehabilitation aspect into consideration as well.
Misty, always appreciate your analysis and expertise as we walk through all of this. Chloe Malas, you have covered this case from the very beginning. You've watched this judge on the bench. As we mentioned, he was the one who presided over this trial. I wonder what you make of this sentence today, and just taking a step back, whether you think the Combs team will appeal this. The judge has sort of come down in the middle, if anything, gone more onto the side of where Combs wanted to be. Do you think they sort of take this and say, you know what, he'll continue to do his classes behind bars, but you're not going to appeal this?
You know, Laura, one of his attorneys who's really taken the lead at recent hearings is Alexandra Shapiro. She's a very well-known appellate lawyer, and I believe, based on my reporting, that he will likely try to appeal this because, again, his team really wanted time served. He even had speaking engagements set up for next week with a reentry program to speak to those who had served time, and these were these business classes that he started.
Diddy must have thought hey man, he had to think that he was gonna get out of something. This fool planned a speaking engagement. It's like, first you got to get out of jail first, bro. You know what I mean? You're making all these plans, and next thing you know, they throw some more time at you. You're going to be highly disappointed, emotionally distraught. You know?
At Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, so I believe that he really thought he was going to go free, and I think he will keep fighting for his freedom. And I just wanted to also tell you that it is a very different day, a different mood outside of the courthouse today than it was a few months ago, the day of the verdict. It's much more subdued, Laura.
Chloe Malas outside the courthouse there. Appreciate your coverage throughout this trial. We're going to continue our coverage on NBC News Now, and of course on NBCNews.com, and of course on Nightly News with Tom Yamas tonight. I'm Laura Jarrett. We're going to go to break now, and then Hallie Jackson is up next.
As an inspiration, here's a Peter you raised summer. The decision came after an emotional day in court where we heard from Combs, his victims, his children, and Combs himself. As he spoke, our team inside court tells us he turned to his family and apologized to his children, and then, sobbing, told his mother, quote, "You taught me better, you raised me better." Combs also broke down earlier in the day when his children took the stand, when his 18-year-old daughter told the judge that her dad promised he would always be there to, quote, keep us safe. The defense then showed an 11-minute video produced by Combs' PR team that you're seeing here for the first time on your screen, basically celebrating Combs as an inspiration. Here's a piece of that video.
I want the best person trophy. But I know in order for me to get into heaven, I'm not going to get in there, well, come on in heaven, you had 20 hit records. That don't mean nothing, and that's what this world is for.
That again was a promotional video released by Combs' PR team. Prosecutors reminded the judge, though, that while Combs is making the case that he has changed and moved on, his victims are still picking up the pieces. Prosecutors have been asking the judge for an 11-year and 3-month sentence. Remember, they had accused Combs of orchestrating a decades-long criminal enterprise to force women to participate on sex events that he called freak-offs. A jury...
So listen, count 1, racketeering conspiracy, not guilty. Count 2, sex trafficking by force, fraud or coercion, not guilty. Count 3, transportation to engage in prostitution. And that rhyme, transportation to engage in prostitution, well, guilty. So he's guilty of transporting a prostitute. Count 4, sex trafficking by force, fraud or coercion, not guilty. Count 5, transportation to engage in prostitution, guilty. So he's guilty of the transportation of the prostitution. He's guilty of 2 counts. See? Now, transporting a prostitute, can you prove that this woman was really a prostitute? I think the charges are bogus, but hey, They had to come with something. They had to make something stick.
Is making the case that he has changed and moved on. His victims are still picking up the pieces. Prosecutors have been asking the judge for an 11-year and 3-month sentence. Remember, they had accused Combs of orchestrating a decades-long criminal enterprise to force women to participate on sex events that he called freak-offs. A jury ultimately acquitted him of the most serious charges: racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. But they did find him guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. We've got team coverage on this. Kristen Gibbons-Fedden is our legal analyst. NBC's Rahema Ellis, though, is outside the court. And Rahema, we start with you. No cameras in court, but we've got a team inside watching all of this play out. What was
basically he got time for tricking? You're right, Biggie. Diddy is no pimp. I never seen a trick. I never seen a customer get time for transporting a prostitute. Not no 4 years. So he ain't in jail for pimping. He's in jail for tricking and allegedly transporting a prostitute. Man, that's crazy.
The mood like inside the court as the judge handed down the sentence? And by the way, I guess we're hearing from one of the victims right now as well, right?
I think so. There's a lot of action going on behind me, and I'm not quite sure exactly what it is, but you can imagine that people...
You know how many guys fly prostitutes out to have sex with them? You know how many guys fly out OnlyFans and OnlyFans chicks and Instagram models? They fly these chicks out to have sex with them, and a lot of those chicks are prostitutes. If that's the case, you got to lock up the whole industry, the whole rap industry, basketball players, football players, athletes. They're all tricks. The majority of these guys are tricks. The majority of these guys pay for sex and fly these women out in exchange for sexual favors. So you gotta, so you gotta lock up the whole industry. Why? Because all of them are guilty, at least 80%. So a whole lot of tricking going on. Ain't no damn pimping going on.
NBC's Rahema Ellis, though, was outside the court. And Rahema, we start with you. No cameras in court, but we've got...
Yeah, I believe Diddy is going to appeal this for sure. He's going to appeal this for sure. I'm already knowing. You're going to lock a man up for having sex with a woman. Then you're going to claim that she's a prostitute and say that he's somehow transported this prostitute across state line. And that's what you're charging him with. See, the sex trafficking case was bogus. They threw it out. Even the transportation of a prostitute, that's even bogus. But somehow they were able to make that charge stick. 2 counts of transporting the prostitute.
A team inside watching all of this play out. What was the mood like inside the court as the judge handed?
You got to lock up the whole porn industry. I said this on the last live stream. Porn stars, they fly them out and they pay those women to have sex with multiple people. How come you're not locking up the people in the porn industry? They fly out several women every day, and they make big money, and they pay these women to have sex with men, women. They pay these women, they pay these men and women to have sex with all these people. So you're transporting prostitutes. How come you're not locking up the people in the porn industry? And they make tons of money off of sex. Flex, time to have sex. I'm just saying, if we're gonna be technical, you got to lock up the whole porn industry. You got to lock up the majority of these athletes and these entertainers because they fly prostitutes, OnlyFans models, Instagram models. They fly these women out every day in exchange for sexual favors. You got to lock up everybody, not just Diddy. But see, now we know that Diddy had a target on his back, so they came for him. They want Diddy to suffer. Huh? They want to break him mentally. They want to break him spiritually. They want to break him financially.
Down a sentence. And by the way, I guess we're hearing from one of the victims right now as well, right?
I think so. There's a lot of action going on behind me, and I'm not quite sure exactly what it is, but you can imagine that people are wanting to respond and to react to what has happened in this courthouse. The mood in the courthouse, it was tense. There was a lot of anticipation about what would happen here today, starting off at the very beginning when the judge, before they got into the impact statements, the judge said the fact that Diddy Combs had been acquitted of the criminal charges, the most serious criminal charges against him, including racketeering and sex trafficking, did not acquit him of the conduct. And he said that that was going to be considered in the sentencing. And during his allocution, when Combs was saying that he was remorseful, that he felt terrible about himself, he felt disgusted, he broke down crying, as you point out. The judge said, in addition to the fact that you point out he played this video of a loving family, the judge said when he began his announcement of what the sentence was to be, he said, I have no doubt that you love your family and that you would love to be with them. But he says, I cannot discount your history and the freak-offs, all the hotel nights.
He said, I know you love your family, but you abused these women. You took advantage of them. You used your power and influence to take advantage of these women. And that's exactly what they're saying. They're going to paint Diddy as a monster. They painted Diddy as a monster. There will be no more Sex in the City for P. Diddy in 5 years. I repeat, there will be no more Sex in the City for P. Diddy. Now you're sitting in a penitentiary serving time for sex crimes.
Before they got into the impact statements, the judge said the fact that Diddy Combs had been acquitted of the criminal charges, the most serious criminal charges against him, including racketeering and sex trafficking, did not acquit him of the conduct. And he said that that was going to be considered in the sentencing. And during his allocution, when Combs was saying that he was remorseful, that he...
Hey, Virgil said he gonna turn into Fleece Johnson in a... Anybody tell you got a nice body? Anybody tell you got a nice booty? I think you got a nice butt. I think you got a nice butt. I think you're cute. If we was in prison, I'll get with you. I'll have to see what's up with you.
The mood like inside the court as the judge handed down the sentence. And by the way, I guess we're hearing from one of the victims right now as well, right?
I think so. There's a lot of action going on behind me, and I'm not quite sure exactly what it is, but you can imagine that people are wanting to respond and to react to what has happened in this courthouse. The mood in the courthouse, it was tense. There was a lot of anticipation about what would happen here today, starting off at the very beginning when the judge, before they got into the impact statements, the judge said the fact that Diddy Combs had been acquitted of the criminal charges, the most serious criminal charges against him, including racketeering and sex trafficking, did not acquit him of the conduct. And he said that that was going to be considered in the sentencing. And during his allocution, when Combs was saying that he was remorseful, that he felt terrible about himself, he felt disgusted, he broke down crying, as you point out. The judge said, in addition to the fact that you point out he played this video of a loving family, the judge said when he began his announcement of what the sentence was to be, he said, I have no doubt that you love your family and that you would love to be with them. But he says, I cannot discount your history and the freak-offs, all the hotel nights, the sex and the drugs and the rock and roll. And you abuse the power and control over women. And he says that he wants to impose a sentence that will serve as an example for others who are might be abused, and for women who might be abusers, those who might be abusers, and for women who might be abused. And so there was a lot of sobbing, but the judge basically at the end of it, should also be mentioned, that he said he was proud of, and he spoke about the courage that Cassie Ventura and others had by coming forward and talking about what had happened to them, and he hoped that it would be an example and inspiration for others, not only here but around the world, who are victims of abuse. Tom?
Yeah, reading the tea leaves, it suggests that maybe Combs really thought he was going to get out today, because the prosecution had said Combs had lined up speaking engagements for as early as next week.
Hell yeah, Diddy thought he was going to get out. He lined up speaking engagement.
And he hoped that it would be an example and inspiration for others, not only here but around the world, who are victims of abuse. Tom?
Yeah, reading the tea leaves, it suggests that maybe Combs really thought he was going to get out today, because the prosecution had said Combs had lined up speaking engagements for as early as next week. The defense, though, tried to then walk that back, right?
Yeah, they tried to walk it back. The prosecution called it pretty much profound hubris of setting up speaking engagements for as early as Monday coming up. That would be October 6th. But the defense said what they were trying to do is show that he wants to present himself as someone who could be rehabilitated, and that his time spent, the 13-month in prison, served as an enormous example and a learning example from him. It was a teachable moment, and he would like to share what he's learned with others. So he would be going to community centers and, in essence, conducting community service, if you will. He called Diddy Combs a civil rights leader, and saying that he would want to go out and continue with this kind of...
See, he was found guilty on 2 counts. He was found guilty on count 3 and count 5, and those are the same charges. So they found a way to get him, hit him with 2 counts of the same charge. He's guilty of both. Now, the sex trafficking, he better be glad that he wasn't convicted on sex trafficking. He would be done if they convicted him on sex trafficking. He'll be looking at 20 years. My God.
New example, if you will, of how he could live his life. It should be mentioned that even though this sentence has been handed down today, the court cases for Sean Combs are not over. He faces dozens of civil cases against him that still have to be...
Yeah, man, he still got all these civil cases, man. You got victims saying, oh, he did this. He took advantage of me. He did this. He forced me to do it. So he still got a lot of civil cases coming at him. Diddy, hey, man, Diddy gonna lose a whole lot of money. His reputation is tarnished.
Measured in a courtroom. Tom?
And potentially an appeal as well. Rahima Ellis, thank you very much for your reporting throughout the entire trial. Let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Kristen Gibbons-Fedden. Kristen, was this, I don't know, around the length of time you would expect that he...
And you're right about that, Big E. That's what I was saying about people who hate Puffy. Like, man, Puffy need this. I said, listen, you have a right to not like Puffy, but look at the bigger picture. If they can convict Puffy over something like this, they're going to come after more black men, because these charges are bogus. You mean to tell me if I'm in a relationship with a woman, I take her, let's just say I take her from California to Las Vegas. You're going to say that I transported a prostitute and now you want to throw me in prison for having sex with this woman, and the sex was consensual? Diddy is a customer. Diddy is no pimp. Diddy ain't sending women across state lines to bring the money back. He ain't trying to send them to the track so that they can sit up there and bring the money back. No, man, Diddy ain't pimping. Diddy was tricking. Diddy was not pimping. So how do you charge him with transporting a prostitute? Transportation of a prostitution, that is bogus. But these are the games they play. So listen, homie, this right here is much bigger than P. Diddy. Some of you guys are celebrating that Diddy's going to jail. Hey, man, all that's going to do is put a target on your back as a black man. If they can take Diddy down for this, imagine what they can do to a regular person or any other man, black man, that is. That's who they're going to target with these sex trafficking charges. The transportation of a prostitute, they're gonna target black men with these charges. Please see the bigger picture. I do.
He called Diddy Combs a civil rights leader, and saying that he would want to go out and continue with this kind of new example, if you will, of how he could live his life. It should be mentioned that even though this sentence has been handed down today, the court cases for Sean Combs are not over. He faces dozens of civil cases against him that still have to be measured in a courtroom. Tom?
And potentially an appeal as well. Rahima Ellis, thank you very much for your reporting throughout the entire trial. Let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Kristen Gibbons-Fedden. Kristen, was this, I don't know, around the length of time you would expect that he would serve? It's not quite what the prosecution wanted, but it clearly is a lot more than the defense wanted.
Yeah, I thought it would be a little bit higher. I thought the judge was going to rule within the guidelines of what the probation department had suggested, which would have been about 70 months. So I thought it would be a little bit higher. But
you wanted it to be higher. She wanted Diddy in jail. She was praying to God that they gave Diddy more time in jail. You can tell.
I don't know, around the length of time you would expect that he would serve. It's not quite what the prosecution wanted, but it clearly is a lot more than the defense wanted.
yeah, I thought it would be a little bit higher. I thought the judge was going to rule within the guidelines of what the probation department had suggested, which would have been about 70 months. So I thought it would be a little bit higher. But what I thought was most powerful about the judge's sentence was the commentary that went around, and Rahima touched on it. Just acknowledging the pain of the survivors. Also, the fact that he put in the enhancements, specifically the vulnerable victim, the coercion and the leadership enhancements, to actually increase the sentencing guidelines by which he could sentence the defendant in. But I think that was the most important part, was the acknowledgement of the survivors, their bravery, and most importantly, their pain.
Yeah, that does seem to come through, at least through the comments that we've received and reading the comments outside of the courtroom. So what's next for Combs, right? I mean, as Rahima mentioned, he's facing civil cases, and we suspect that his team will, in fact, appeal this conviction, or at least the sentence.
Absolutely. He will definitely appeal not only all of the evidentiary objections and issues that went on during the trial, but of course he will most likely appeal the sentence in and of itself. But all of the civil cases as well, they're going to move full steam ahead. They're going to utilize all of the evidence that was put on during this trial and all of the evidence that was precluded or not utilized during the trial. So those civil cases will most likely be eating up a lot of his time, as well as the appellate issues.
Kristen Gibbons-Fedden, thank you very much for the analysis. We're going to keep an eye on this story throughout the afternoon, but to again reiterate, Sean Diddy Combs sentenced to 4 years and 2 months in prison for several allegations against him that he was found guilty of. And now to our other...
Oh, man, they want to put the whoop on it. Be mindful of your language in the chat, you guys. There's certain things that you can't say. We're going to keep this channel PG-13. Check this out.
You think I could book that for like the weekend of the 14th?
Look at the dealer right here. Look, this is the dealer.
You think I could book that for like the weekend of the 14th when the soundtrack comes out? If so, bump somebody. All right, thanks. All right, love you, man. Bye. I got my MTV out. Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get! Yes! All right, thanks. All right, love you, man. Bye. I got my MTV out. Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get! Yes! What's next? What's next? I gotta get it. I'm not gonna stay fucking down. I'm not gonna stay fucking lying down. I'm not. I can't do that, man. I can't do that. What's next? Give me something else. What can't you do? I can do it. I can do anything.
If you got timed out, man, that means that you said something reckless in the chat, man, and you had to be warned several times. So be mindful of what you're saying, homie. You guys got to be mindful. This ain't Red Supreme TV1. This is King Supreme. We are monetized over here. Let's continue. Follow the guidelines. That's all I'm asking you to do. Leave the profanity out of the chat, and that's how we're gonna keep it clean. You already know that YouTube love to police me. So we gotta tread lightly with the language, fellas. Anyway, let's get to this.
I am the fucking hardest hustler in the world. This is Savage Part 2. Don't tell me about shit. It's 2022 and I'm still a savage. Whatever I want, I get. Whatever I want, I fucking get. I am the fucking hardest hustler in the world. This is Savage Part 2. Don't tell me about shit. It's 2022 and I'm still a savage. Whatever I want, I get. Whatever I want, I fucking get.
Hit the like button.
I could see. Now, we are following some more breaking news. It has been a very busy Friday here as we have this post. Extensive coverage again.
Real months in, that's really going to count for like a year and a half. With the programming that he'll get, he could be in a halfway house in 2 years, in 24 months.
But look at the wording that was of interest. You know, how the judge was pretty much admonishing him, taking into account that the judge felt that he had not shown any remorse. You know, like that Combs cried on the stand before, like that. How effective do you think that was playing a part in this?
My uneducated guess is that the judge knew exactly what he was doing before he walked into that courtroom today, that he let everyone have their speech. Everyone, like, you know, I mean, this went on. Normally, these things are an hour and a half. We've been here for 8 hours, right? I was on with Rosanna this morning and Kurt, and I said it's going to be somewhere, I said, plus or minus 5. So it was on a little bit of the minus 5. 4 years, 2 months. As I said, I think this judge, he said almost exactly what we predicted him to say. I know you've done a lot of good things, but I also need to take the bad things you've done into consideration, and therefore, here's my sentence. The prosecutor asking for 11 years was way beyond the pale. Department of Probation said 7 years, and he undercut them. I will tell you, no matter what they say when they come out here, the defense attorneys, I hope they're not going to get mad at me for saying this. They're going to go and have a great meal tonight. They signed up for a case where a guy was facing life in prison, and now a 50-year-old man will probably get out at 52 to 53 years old, which is 4 years younger than I am. He'll have his whole life ahead of him. He's got tens of millions of dollars in the bank, and hopefully he'll make this horrible situation as productive as possible. He's already started teaching classes in college, in law, in prison, and he'll make a positive impact on the young men, especially the men of our society, about what not to do when you achieve the level of success and fame and fortune that Sean Combs had achieved. And that obviously played a role in the judge's decision making.
So for perspective here, he's gotten more than 4 years, and we understand he was only convicted of 2 of the charges, but the evidence from the other charges that were thrown out
is allowed to be
considered.
Is allowed, yeah. In federal court, that's allowed to come in. If you're over there in the state court, a lot less so. But here, the judge is allowed to take that into consideration. The judge must take into consideration the deterrent effect that it will have on the general public, not just on Sean Combs, but on sending a message to society that you can't do this, and if you do this, you're going to get severely punished.
So if you are a part of the prosecution team, how do you view this? What's your response there?
Well, you're already devastated from the acquittals from a couple of months ago, right? Because they were shooting for the moon, and they got nowhere close to the moon. Look, they took down an American.
Shout out to C-Mac for the Cash App. Shout out to John J for the Cash App. Shout out to Quentin for the Cash App. Shout out to my people for supporting the Cash App. You already know.
An international icon. They took down an international celebrity. So that's a notch in their belt if you want to look at it that way. I don't think that's the appropriate way to look at it, but I know that's how they look at it. But they were looking to put this guy in jail for life, and that didn't happen. They were looking to put Eric Adams, the mayor, in jail for life. That case got dismissed. So they've taken it on the chin a little bit, and this is all from the prior U.S. attorney. This is not the current U.S. attorney who's here now.
So what are we to make of this 4 years? Is there any possibility he could have that reduced? Anything that he could do in prison?
So it's interesting. Had the judge sentenced him much more severely to what, let's say, what the prosecutor wanted, like 11 years.
11 years, 3 months.
I could see President Trump considering, like, that's just too much. But now, it's like the judge didn't really crush him. Those of us who practice in this courthouse, it's a tough place to be, man. This is a tough place to be. It's a tough place for a criminal defendant to get sentenced. And this cannot be, objectively speaking, this is not a harsh sentence from where it began. Again, the Department of Probation is supposed to be the objective arm of this, and they recommended 7 years. And the judge almost cut that in half. He cut it by a third.
Man, Diddy was they said Diddy was emotional, man. Listen, bro. They said when Diddy got his time, he was looking like he was ready to pass out, man. They said Diddy was looking like he was getting ready to faint when they handed him that time. Diddy was hoping he was going to go home to get back to the money, to get to his family. But once he heard he got 4 years to do, he said, oh, Lordy, I don't want to do no more time. Oh, Lordy, I don't want to do no more time in prison. I want to go home. I'm going to go home. He was emotional. He was distraught. Diddy don't know what the hell he want to do. I'm going to bring you guys up right after this clip. I'm going to bring you guys up to speak.
Defense has to be very proud of themselves and the job that they did securing this type of sense. Of course, Sean Combs isn't happy. He wants to come on. He wants to be here right now doing it, being on Fox 5.
Speaking engagements lined up,
yes,
as soon as next week, even if they were community centered or so. But we were hearing that, which some interpreted as a bit of arrogance, on his part.
Yeah, I don't know. I doubt that had an influence on the judge, but apparently he was picked up on voice calls, because all your calls, unless it's to your lawyer, are recorded. And so they told the judge, we heard a call, and he thinks he's going to be out next week. Yeah, that's not the way to go. I wouldn't be too happy if my client, I would be out. Do you have mind?
But do you think that influenced things last moment, or was this already set in his mind?
I doubt it. I think this judge, he's a young judge. He's a new judge. He's also a judge who clerked on the Supreme Court of the United States of America. He has an excellent reputation, not just for his intellect, but his judicial temperament by both sides, which is really, as a judge, where you want to be. I think he's probably was prepared 10 times over, and I'm pretty sure that this is what he was thinking before he walked into the room.
So at this point, where do we go from here? I mean, we're talking about the message that this sends to people.
Let me tell you where P. Diddy goes, which is good news for him. Anywhere is better than where he is. Anywhere is better. So he'll have some options as to which different, when I say options, he won't have the options, but the Department of the Bureau of Prisons will, right? And now I'm sure if you really look, it's still going on in there, but you request the judge, Your Honor, he'd like to be close to his children, so could he be in Florida? He wants to be close to his mother. I'm making this up a little bit, in California. The judge doesn't actually have the power to designate where he goes. The judge just makes a suggestion. The Bureau of Prison makes the ultimate call, but the lawyers can request and then tell you why he wants to be in one location or the other. But it will be, every part of his life will be enhanced. There's no worse place for him to be than the MDC, except maybe if it was a state case in Rikers Island. But and he'll probably be moved in a week. I mean, they'll move him relatively quickly because he's now a sentenced inmate, right. And MDC is typically for people waiting trial or waiting.
Well, yes, he's going to be shipped to prison. That's a federal holding facility when you're waiting for your time. Now he's going to get shipped to a federal prison to serve the rest of his time.
To be sentenced.
So in terms of the facility where he'll be, are we talking about maximum security? You think it'll be minimum security? Where does he fall on this spectrum?
Man, they're going to put P. Diddy in PC. P. Diddy ain't got to be on no main line with no criminals. He's a celebrity. He just looking to do his time and come on. Man, listen, bro. Let's go.
If they put him in any kind of maximum security, it's not for him.
P. Diddy will not be in no maximum security. He's not in prison for a violent crime. He's not in prison for a violent crime. He's not going to be in maximum security. More than likely, he's going to be in protected custody, and rightfully so. He's a celebrity with a whole lot of money and influence.
In terms of the facility where he'll be, are we talking about maximum security? You think it'll be minimum security? Where does he fall on this spectrum?
If they put him in any kind of maximum security, it's not for him harming others. It's for others harming him. Right. So he won't be. But he'll probably fight. Isolated. He'll probably fight hard against that because it's not a pleasant place to be. He'll probably.
All right, this is what I'm gonna do, man. Let me see. Let me bring up John J. John J., where you at, brother?
Hey, what's up, Red? Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, loud and clear. You got the flow, John J.
Hey, man, congratulations on getting monetized, man. I know you wanted that, so,
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm definitely glad you brought up that point that as black men, we really can't celebrate or think this is something good, because if they can come after Diddy, like you pointed out, they can come after the everyday brother and most black men don't have the money to fight a case like this. So we go into jail for the long term. And
Yeah.
so a lot of times, you know, you got to look at the bigger picture. And I remember when they were going after Bill Cosby back in 2014, I was on YouTube and you had a lot of black celebrities saying stuff and, you know, talking trash about Cosby like they couldn't come after them. And I think if I remember correctly, I think Diddy was one who had a lot to say about Cosby. So, you know, it's just as black men, we can't, you know, you know, just celebrate this kind of treatment because it's the Mann Act. That was a act used to get the first black heavyweight champion, Jack Johnson.
Yeah.
So, you know, they rewrite laws to get black men, but at the same time, as a black man, you got to know that somebody at Diddy's level has to know that, man, you can't do what you see your white counterparts doing and thinking you're gonna get treated how they get treated. That was a lesson every black man should learn as a child. Just navigating here in America in this world of white supremacy, you got to know certain things you can't do, and they waiting for you to make that kind of mistake so they can you know, throw the book at you and dirty you up. So it's a lesson for him, and it's also a lesson for other brothers to look at it. Hey, certain things you just can't do. You got to move differently out here, especially when you get into the bag and you get into the money. Yeah, they don't like that. They don't like that at all. So, and I was a big 50 Cent fan, but I just don't like the way he poking fun and making light of this. Like he ain't a black man. Like they can't go in his past and dig up some of the crap he's done and use it against him.
He's celebrating. I said he's celebrating Diddy's downfall.
Right, like they can't dig up when you burnt down your baby mama house. Yeah, I was in New York around that time when he burnt that chick house down. So they go and dig that up on him. How many people gonna come out and defend him? So as black men, we got to be a little bit more unified. Even if you don't like another brother, him and Diddy don't like each other, but he could at least say, you know what, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut and not contribute to the downfall of this brother, even though they weren't rocking with each other like that. So, that's just how I see it, man. But we living in strange times now, man. And like you were saying, y'all can't be flying these chicks out. You can't be doing that. I'm a big proponent of just getting your passport and getting up out this country, man. When if you're trying to do them kind of activities, if that's what you own.
You gotta tell them chicks, man. Hey, you gotta tell them, hey, you gotta fly yourself. Because if I'm sending you the money and they can prove that I flew you out in exchange of a sexual favor, they can say that I transported a prostitute. Man, this is getting wild.
And if you got that kind of money to be flying chicks out, fly yourself out. Go fly to DR. Go to Colombia. Go somewhere else, man. Though I mean, that's just my take on it, man. Because we living in strange times now. And they looking through the book at a black man for anything. It's always been like that, but it's starting to turn up the heat a little bit more, man, on that. So
it's getting worse because think about this, John Jay. I never heard of a man who's paying for a prostitute getting time for transporting a prostitute. Those charges are for pimps. Those charges are not for customers. Diddy is a customer. Let's get that straight. He ain't out there. He ain't sending females across state lines to give him the money from the prostitution that they engage in. Diddy is he's getting pleasure out of these women. He's not sending them out there because he's pimping them. So when I seen that, I'm like, how do you charge a guy with human sex trafficking who's paying for sex or transportation of a prostitution? Those are charges that you hit pimps with, not Johns and tricks.
Yeah, but only a black man will pay the price for that. Look at the owner of the Patriots. He was caught in one of them rubbing tubs with an underage minor. He got arrested. It was on the news maybe a half a second. You ain't hear nothing else. The owner, he's a billionaire, the New England Patriot. You can go look this up. He got arrested for being with an underage minor in one of them massage parlors. And he got arrested or whatever, but you ain't hear nothing else about it. So, I mean, I ain't saying just because they can do it, black men should be able to get away with it. No, I ain't saying that, but this system is rigged against us, and Diddy should have known that. That video you just played of him talking about he could do whatever he want. And they don't like seeing that. They hate that. Oh, well, whether you like Diddy or not, they hate that a brother came up like he did from nothing. They same with Jay-Z and any other successful black man. They know the rules and the supremacy they put on us, and a brother still beat them at their own game. They hate it. And even in the regular world, I see it all the time in corporate America with black men. So you just got to know how to move. And I say that for these younger brothers coming up. This is a lesson learned. When you're trying to get money, you just can't move the way you see your white counterpart or other counterparts move. Just certain things they could do, you just can't. And if you do it, it's World War III, and they're going to try to take everything from you. I see it all the time in corporate America. But I'll fall back and give it to somebody else, Red.
All right. Shout out to John Jay for pulling up, man. John Jizzle just pulled up, man. And yeah, man, even myself, I got to watch my language, man. Like listen, like when you say some regular things and you might not think it's something, YouTube is policing heavy over here, man. So I'm gonna still do YouTube, but I'm gonna branch out to other platforms to get monetized on all these social media platforms, not just YouTube. I've been holding myself back by just posting on YouTube. YouTube is policing. They police us way too much, especially black content creators, especially me. So instead of saying paying for SEX, I got to say paying for box. We can't use the N word. We have to say ninja. We have to say unalived. It's like they are policing our language way too heavy. I'm sick of it, but hey, man, it's their rules. I'm just playing the game. Let me bring up Big E for a second, then I'm going to bring up Ms. Red. Big E, you got it, man.
Hey, yo, what it do, Red and chat? See, where this is why I do not like mainstream media. Mainstream media made it seem like he had minors, like he was running that industry. And if that was the case, you convicted him for the most minor of offenses that you could convict him of. I mean, it was nonviolent. Okay, he was rolling, he was in a car with women of the night. That is not illegal. What if he went to school with them and that was just a profession they chose and he took them to go get something to eat? Right. I mean, you get what I'm saying? Like, to me, they convicted him probably more off of that Cassie video than anything else.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let's keep it 100. If you a grown man and you went to one of his parties and you wanted to get your back all bust up, that's on you as a grown man. If you a grown woman and you would like for men to PEE all in your mouth because Cassie is an old toilet mouth wench. I don't care what nobody say. It's still illegal. Now you nasty as the back alley of a liquor store in your mouth, but it's not illegal. Right? Okay, Puff flew up. Puff been on private jets for what, 25 years? You get what I'm saying? Like, how do you know those wasn't artists? How do you know that? Like, how do you just say those were women of the night? Especially when you're talking about somebody like Puff. Don't you know people like Puff have women lined up down the block to get next to him? He don't even have to do nothing. My very first concert, no, my second concert was an MC Hammer concert. Women were throwing their clothes off and was naked right there. You get what I'm saying? When you got money like Puff, you don't have to do nothing. Everybody is throwing it at you. And we ain't talking about street women. Like, just really look at what women are doing. Look at how much money they paying just for a picture with Chris Brown. Just a picture, bro. Them ain't street women. So what I'm saying is those people have women lined up around the block for them. Nick Cannon got 100 kids and he got 1 million women that's lined up to have one of them kids too.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Future got 1 million kids, and he got 1 million women lined up to have another one of his kids, right? So we know that this ain't like everybody all, you know, like they are appalled and aghast. Nah, y'all see what these women is out here doing today? You know what I'm saying? You see what they doing when they get to Dubai? You know what I'm saying? You see what they was doing when they get to Jamaica? You see what's happening out here? So let's not act like, you know what I'm saying, these were like good, wholesome women that got turned out. But Afro, I get you. Diddy sloppy, but guess what? He been doing this for how many years? I told y'all before, Wendy Williams said he been doing this since the 90s. This is nothing new. It was already, how many times over the years have you heard about what goes on at puff parties? So what I'm saying is, if he was as bad as they say, for them to convict him of those bogus charges, since when did riding with some street ladies become a 4-year bid? Since when do multimillionaires do time for frivolous charges like that? You get what I'm saying? Like, really look at them. Now, just think if that was your son, your brother, your uncle, your father, just because he was in a car with some ladies of the night, he messed around and if they gave Puff 4, how much you think they'll give your folks? You get what I'm saying? So it ain't about whether you like Puff or not. If they can go after somebody that got the money and the juice and the fame like Puff had, like Bill Cosby had, somebody said something about Jack Johnson. You got to understand, these are prominent black men. And to me, all they wanted to do was to just say, oh, well, he was convicted of something. You get what I'm saying? Because now they could say, well, you are a felon. You get what I'm saying? But do you notice they don't never do that? Like, they don't never talk about Bernie Madoff was a felon because it was white collar crime, but it was still a felony. You know what I'm saying? How many people, who is the demographic that mainly embezzles from companies? Embezzlement. They're still felonies, but it's white collar crime. So we're not going to talk about that.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So to me, all they wanted to do was make Puff seem like a deviant. Okay, you remember they was trying to say it was minors involved. Well, you didn't hear nothing about that in testimony. That way he wasn't even charged. I don't even think he was charged for that. Was he, Red? Them 5 charges that you showed, did any of them have any minors on there?
No, it was all human sex trafficking, conspiracy for trafficking, and transportation of a prostitution. None of that was in there.
Okay, but what were they telling you? That he was minors, baby oil, he was drugging people, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if he was drugging you against your will, he should have been charged with that, right? But that wasn't one of the charges. Now, this is what they were saying he was doing. And then for them to convict him of something so small, yet give him 4 years, dude, come on, man. I don't even see the feds. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even see the feds. I don't even know why the feds would have even got involved with something like that. Now, Red, maybe you could, because I ain't never did no federal time. But do the feds waste their time with small charges? Like, don't they normally let the state, won't they normally let the state prosecute that?
Yeah, that they let the state get that. Now now as of lately, but P. Diddy, no, but as of lately, they've been picking up gang members for pistols. But outside of that, they're coming for big cases, big fish.
Yeah, but okay, but I get that Puff is a big fish, right? But for what you convicted him of, everything that they said he did, nah, not guilty. He didn't do that. And what you saying he did, man, get up out of here, Puff. What I'm saying is, when you are of a certain stature, you are going to be surrounded with women. Didn't they try to say the same thing about Andrew Tate? And I don't even like him, but the same thing. A rich, I guess you could say, diet black man, you know what I'm saying, who is surrounded by women, et cetera, et cetera. He's famous. You know what I'm saying? You know that one drop rule, but it's the same thing with him. Everything that they accused him of, they've been dropping them cases on him too. You get what I'm saying? Everything they said Bill Cosby did, he wasn't convicted of what they said he did, and he been home. You get what I'm saying? So it's like you're just going after the name, but you're not charged. Y'all are making this big media circus. You're keeping this on a 24-hour loop. Puff been in the media, all on the news ever since he got arrested. So for you to sensationalize these cases, but then turn around and say, "Oh well, yeah, we only convicted him for spitting on the sidewalk. That's all." Well, why y'all gaslight the media? Why do y'all gaslight people? Oh, if you support, they making us feel bad for supporting our people by putting all these bogus charges on him just to convict him on sitting in the car or whatever they say, or he was driving around with some street women. How you gonna say that those were street women? Do you know how many regular women were trying to get next to Puff? I mean, if you're a celebrity, you don't have to deal with street women.
Yeah, man, it's like you got every women from all walks of life are just throwing it. Diddy didn't have to force nobody to do nothing. These women just wanted to get next to Diddy, and when they didn't get what they wanted, and they seen that other people were filing lawsuits, they just followed suit because they were trying to get something. But come on, homie, ballers in the hood got women throwing panties at them. So just imagine a celebrity of the status of Diddy. Come on, man, he ain't got to force nobody to do. Man, them bras volunteered to get next to Diddy, and they was willing to do anything. We know that, Biggie.
And to show you, and to show you how hypocritical the state of New York is, they talking about women of the night, but when they had all them illegals and those illegal women were selling it in New York, they allowed them to do it. Remember, you did a show on that, Red, and then so if it's that bad to fly somebody out, then why are you allowing these women, these illegal women who came over here illegally, to sell it? And then you had congressmen, women defending them selling it out there in New York. So, you know, the game is so messed up and so rigged against black men. It's just crazy.
Well, John Jay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Puff got so large because you got to understand it was politicians, it was police chiefs. Like Puff, like to me, Puff had amassed some real power. Like the reason that Jeffrey Epstein was able to fly under the radar is because he had dirt on everybody, right? It is alleged that the Victoria's Secret guy, in which I don't understand how he turned over everything to Jeffrey Epstein and committed suicide. You get what I'm saying? But to me, we can kind of put two and two together. So I think Puff got too big and they had to break him. See, they did it. It's the same thing with OJ. OJ got too big. What's the quickest way for them to take your money from you if you're a rich black man? Start giving you court cases. You're going to go spend millions of dollars on lawyers, investigators. You're going to settle here. You got to grease this palm, grease that palm. By the time it's all said and done, if you was a billionaire, you might have less than that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but see, the problem is, and you're right, Biggie, but why don't these rich black men, well, Puffy, you should have learned from OJ. That can happen. You're never too big in America as a black man for them not to tell you now. That's the game. I don't care how much money you got or how famous you once were. When they want you, they've shown it so many times. So, I mean, you know, I hate it, but black men got to start learning from these examples. I don't care. Look at Michael Jordan. He walk around like he can't be touched. They waiting on him to let that woman he married to say he did anything nefarious or whatever. His whole empire come crashing down too. And so black men got to start, you know, just learning from the mistakes of other black men. I remember that O.J. Simpson case. O.J. He literally said, "I ain't black, I'm OJ." He thought he had transcended blackness, but they reminded him so quick it wasn't even funny. So
now,
you know
why? But do you know why they got him? They was able to convict him in that second trial because they broke him in the first trial. You remember he paid for
Yeah.
Johnny Cochran, F. Lee Bailey, Robert Kardashian.
Right.
He had
Yeah.
like an all-star, all-time lawyer
Yeah.
team.
Oh yeah. I remember that. But out there in Las Vegas. You're OJ Simpson. What you doing out there doing stupid stuff? Trying to. I understand people stole from him. He trying to get his stuff back, but he should have known. Hey, I can't go back to court. I'm not gonna
No,
get done
no,
fairly
come on, no, no,
by
no,
this
hold up.
system. So that's the point I'm getting at.
No,
Is
but you
a lot
gotta
of
be,
times
you
you
gotta be
gotta
real.
an
You
ounce.
gotta
That's
be
what we
more
say in
real with
healthcare.
that.
An ounce of prevention is worth a gallon of cure. So you gotta.
John Jay, you got it. You was breaking up for a minute, but you got it. John Jay.
You gotta be more real with that though, John Jay. Like, if somebody broke into your spot, you ain't gonna be like, I'm finna call the police. You're not finna be like no Karen. Bro, you finna find out who did what. I mean, to me, I think they set him up for that because you heard what he was saying the whole time. Oh, you gonna just steal from me? You gonna steal from me? So I think that they goaded him into that because they wanted to put him in jail because they felt like he got away the first time. So I personally think they goaded him into that, knowing that he couldn't fight that case like he did that 187 because they literally took his money from him by that time. You know what I'm saying? But everybody who they want to break, when it's your time, they start charging you with stuff so they can hurry up. All them lawyer fees. Again, when you lose, you got to pay all the court fees. You get what I'm saying? So when you look up, dude, they had you in jail. He ain't been making no money. So yeah, bro, all your money going out and it's not coming in. So to me, that's what they do. So all these dudes that wanted to play in their realm, see, Puff thought he was untouchable like Clive. He thought he was untouchable like Hugh Hefner. You get what I'm saying? He thought he was untouchable like Leora and them, and Jimmy Iovine and them, and that other guy who Birdman answered to. I can't think his name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? When y'all get too big, they gonna bring y'all back down. It's just like the white boy did in Snowfall with Franklin Saint. I made you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you seen he felt entitled. Oh, I'm gonna make sure I break you. I made you. So it shows you from the street game to the rap game to the music industry to entertainment. It's all the same mentality. They feel like, hey, I owned you because I made you.
Right. What did they do same thing in Harlem Nights. Why was they mad at Sugar Ray and Quick? Because they was making all that money. You remember Cantone and them say, damn, how was he? Okay, well, if we can't have it, if I can't get it, then y'all can't have it.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what they do. That has always been the nature. When you use their money and when you play in their realm, they already feel like they own us. So if they made you, you understand what I'm saying? They like, nah, we gonna take. You saw it. Same thing in the 5 Heartbeats. They know who made the music, but they wanted to put 4 white faces on the music, right?
Yep.
So every time you get up in their realm, you gotta play. They're gonna make sure you play by them rules, and they're not gonna let you change the rules. Dude, you got too big for your britches. Look, they even broke Will Smith. You get what I'm saying? Look at what Will Smith been going through. All them dudes that everybody getting a wake-up call, they just getting a subtle wake-up calls. You know what I'm saying? You finding out that these rappers, these entertainers, they don't have the money that they claim to have. You get what I'm saying? They're gonna all end up just like Tekashi 6ix9ine. They're gonna all be just like him. I mean, they used him, and now look at where he at. You know what I'm saying? They use look at what's going on with all these Ricos, Red. If what they were saying You know, if what they were saying about grid and all that was true, well, then now that they done with you, yeah, now go over here and sit down. You know what I'm saying? You hearing what's going on, Red. You've been hearing what you've been hearing. They saying all these cats been out here working. That's why they've been getting away with the stuff they've been getting away with.
Yeah, they shit. Hey, you been you been working.
You've been hearing it. I mean, y'all know. I'm not making this up.
Yeah, man.
So
how you guys? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Red, you know what I'm talking about. So now they done. They done with everybody. They done with all of that. You see what I'm saying? They like, nope, all you immigrants got to go. We don't care whether you Asian, Latino, whatever. all you street cats, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, come sit down on these Ricos. You see what they did over there in the Hoovers, right? They went and got them young cats. You don't even hear about none of them got out, right, Red? What was that girl name? You remember
what the chick on the case with the Hoovers?
Yeah, and them dudes that they say was really over there had them minors on the blade. You remember?
Lady Duck. See, listen, by Lady Duck being a female, she had access to a lot of young bras. She had a social media following, so she used her social media to reel in all them youngsters, and she gave some of them little females to some of her homies so they could do what they wanted to do with them. That's why they said no. Lady Duck had the most influence because she had the most females on her team.
Right. So you see what I'm saying? But you see, you ain't hearing about that no more. Now, see, them peoples is in trouble. Brick Baby done took a deal. You get what I'm saying? All these, yeah, you see what's happening. That hammer coming down.
And then Big U just discovered that everybody that's telling on him is his homies from 60s. It's over 50 some people in the paperwork getting down on Big U. See, this is the thing, Big E. All that gang, it's over with. Don't nobody want to serve no time for somebody else. So nah, homie. That like all that don't snitch, it don't matter. See, when you get in the court system and you facing 20 or 30, it's every man for himself. The set don't matter at that point no more. They're thinking about their family, getting back home to get some money and get some of that, get some of that box. So it becomes every man for themselves. The set goes out of the window when somebody facing 20 or better.
Yeah, but see, Red, here go the thing about it though. It's just like in like you remember in American Gangster, you remember the police was watching all of them, but you remember, I think, old boy, the one that shot his girl, you remember they arrested him because he shot his girl. And once they you know how much time you looking at? Oh, okay, right. Well, now I'm gonna tell on what the operation is. You see what I'm saying? They was doing other stuff that get them busted. But Big U, to me, should have knew better, like, okay, bro, the streets ain't loyal to nobody.
Right.
Nobody. At one time, if you was out there like that, and that judge said you get that 50 with an L, oh nah, bro, you finna be out here singing like the Platters, nigga. Lufa and Teddy, you get ready to be singing like them, bro. You getting ready to be out here carooning.
Don't nobody want to sit in the cage with them sausages for 20 years and you got a woman and a family. Man, this is the reality. I don't care how many bodies somebody caught, how real they claim to be. Don't nobody want to do 30 and they got a wife and a family. They gonna talk, bro.
And the older you get, now see, here's the difference between me and a lot of people. I'm old enough to know to stay my behind out of trouble. So I ain't worried about it, right? So y'all can have that. But when if you like Big U is damn near 60 years old. So if they talking about giving you 30, 40, that's a death sentence. Yeah. You know what I'm saying, bro? You gonna be, I guarantee you, soon as he hit the court, he gonna be in there talking about you'll never find boom, 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 boom. That nigga will be singing and humming gospel. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
well, that look, Negro, man, rather, my bad, that Negro.
And look, Big U, 59 years old, right?
Right.
So it's cats in their 20s who gonna sing. So it's like,
man,
the jig is up. The jig is up. The Fed, because you remember back in the day, the feds wasn't picking up cases for gangbangers back in the day. Nowadays they are. They said, you know what? In order to get these gangbangers, if we want to get these gangbangers to start snitching, we got to hit them with federal cases, and that's exactly what they're doing. And that is why snitching is at an all-time high, because if you a gangbanger and you got felonies, you get caught with a pistol or whatever, the feds gonna pick that up, because they knew, man, those 3-5 years, man, they gonna get out and come right back to the set. Nah, we got to start throwing 20 at these dudes.
And that, but look,
Cases.
but Red, they know they stupid. Like, okay, since it's all out on the internet, it ain't no telling. Brick Baby took a deal, right?
Yeah.
Now they already knew he was a felon, but it's like they knew that they can come. You had an AK, a 4.5, a 9. It's like, okay, wait a minute. So
and over 200 rounds of ammunition.
You get what I'm so it's like, yeah, he's an idiot. Just go get him. So now we can just keep you on ice. So now you ex-felon with an illegal look. Ain't AKs banned, Red? Ain't that one of them banned assault weapons?
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Okay, so you an ex-felon with a banned assault rifle, a Desert Eagle, a 9, a bunch of ammo. Nah, bro, you was in there like alfalfa. I'm in the mood for love, simply because you're near me, nigga. You was singing, nigga. You know what you mean to feel.
And not only did you get caught with all of that, you're a known gang member. Oh, and then every video, yeah, nigga on 6-0 crib, nigga on the dead homie, nigga on 6-0. So they're like, oh, you a convicted felon and a known gangbanger, man. Please,
with a banned assault rifle, with big destructive handguns with ammo. You understand what I'm saying, bro? And it is Abdallah. It is a death sentence again. Big, you damn near 60 years old. If they told him you finna sit on this 30, you know the feds gonna make you doing 25. You ain't doing nothing less than 25 of that.
It ain't to state time, because you know state time was giving brothers 60%, 70% because of crowded prisons. Nah, the feds ain't cutting all that time. You're gonna do at least 85% of that. You know, the state time, people was coming home with 50%. You remember Big E?
Man, that's what they used to have. Well, see, I ain't never been in the feds, but from what I've known, the feds, you've always done the majority of your time.
Yeah, always.
Even back then, so you ain't no halftime, good time. And again, just to me, not just y'all could correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't be fooling around. I'm a square. But this is what I want to know, and y'all can help me out with this. Red, are they even going to offer you a deal if they got you red-handed? Like Brick got caught red-handed, so why would the DA give him a deal?
Right, he got caught red, and look, he was on no jumper with a pistol on his waist, and you can see it on camera. It's like how dumb you got to be. You a known gang member and an ex-felon. Everything is on 6-0 crib, and you got a gun on your waist and it's visible. Listen, right after he did that no jumper show, Big E, with that pistol visible on his waist, they raided his home right after that and found more ammunition. Like, how dumb you got to be. If you're a convicted felon, why would you be on video with a strap on your waist? And all they did was, oh, he got a strap on him now, and he was already on a bond for the gun case. And you're on video with another strap. Man, Brick Baby got to be the dumbest dude in America. And right when they seen that no jumper video, Biggie, they raided his home and found the rest of his guns. How dumb you got to be.
So now that's what I'm asking you. I got you dead to rights. You put yourself on video with the jammy, right? With the okay. You got on no jumper and said you got more skulls than squabbles. I was 6-0. I was the dead homies. I was 6-0. That's what you said. So if you know what I'm saying, so if you as notorious as you saying you already on paper where ain't supposed to have none of that, and they saw you with the jammy on no jumper, you can't say nobody snitched on you, bro. You right there on film.
Right.
You running your mouth. You talking. So now my whole point is, Red, what plea deal? What you mean you took a plea? What plea? You got caught dead to rights with an AK, a banned assault rifle, ammo, guns you ain't supposed to have. You an ex-felon with a gun. You get what I'm saying? Like, why would they give you a deal when they caught you dead to rights?
Yeah, man, that's crazy how there's a deal on the table, and I don't have no proof, but my common sense say, like you said, he sung like a bird. He started singing. Cause think about it, Brick Baby got a wife and kid. Brick Baby got like a 2-year-old daughter, man. He got a fresh baby, a wife, and children. Brick Baby ain't trying to do all that time. Brick Baby gonna tell to get out of jail, or at least to lighten his sentence if he can.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, bro. It's like what's crazy about that is you cats waited till you in the second part of your life to decide to have to go sit down. You get what I'm saying? Like,
and Brick Baby like 39, 40. Brick Baby pretty much 40 years old, bro.
right, and that's just assuming you live to be 100. So really by 35, 40, you about at your halfway point in your life.
Yeah. Like Brick, come on, Brick, you 40 years old. You're 40. You got a wife and children and you 40 and you finna go sit down for all this dumb stuff because you're looking for social media clout. You got a gun on your waist, on camera, on no jumper, and the feds went right to his house the next morning, right after that show was aired, Biggie.
You see what I'm saying? Right. Now, and then not only that, you on the show with Watt and you on the show and you talking back and forth with 600. And you've heard the stuff surrounding their name. So why would of all people you be, let come to your house and you doing business with, like, why would them two characters, along with what's going on around their name? Y'all know what's happening. Y'all see it. So what I'm saying is, dude, you not smart. That's not smart. You get what I'm saying? That's not you. Like, you dudes is too old to be this dumb and moving this stupid.
Man, too dumb, bro. Brick Baby, you got a wife and you got children. You 40 years old, bro. Why do you feel the need to get on camera with a gun? You too old for that, homie. Brick Baby own stupidity is what took him down. Didn't nobody snitch on Brick. He told on himself. He like being stupid is what cost Brick Baby everything.
Yeah, Josh. Hey, Josh. Oh, 6-0. Dead homies, good. Oh, rolling, nigga. Yeah, good. You know what I'm saying?
Every video.
Now look at you. Now look at you. I mean, if that's the life you chose, I get it. But you know what I'm saying? You get what you sign up for, but like, bro, don't tell me how smart you are when you wait until, like you say, you got kids, you got a house, you really start. Hey, people was intrigued with the Brick. Depending on what he talked about, if I wanted a good little laugh, I'll see what he talking about. But then they just got a little bit too outrageous with it. So Red, I had to leave it alone. I got a son over there in 6-0. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad he is squared too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like, man, it's really a shame that, see, I look at things a little differently, man. We really need them street soldiers because, again, a lot of people in this chat, well, not in this chat, but they get online and be talking. But when you be put in certain situations, are you really down to do what might be necessary? No, you not. So that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, the people that's willing to do that, like, dude, y'all got to be smarter than that. Because again, everybody could sit up there and say what they would and wouldn't do, but for you to, if how can I put this, bro? If you put yourself in a position to where you might have could have possibly ended somebody's, ended somebody off the census, and you don't feel nothing about that, you just don't have a conscience. You get what I'm saying? That's blood on your hands. You know what I mean? Everybody ain't just willing to do that. And you got some dudes that don't think twice about it. So, you know what I'm saying? We don't need all our soldiers in there either, because again, everybody not going to do, what need to be done. You get what I'm saying? I just wish that our street soldiers would learn how to take that, learn how to manage that aggression. You get what I'm saying? Because I mean, every group got their soldiers. You see who out here crashing out right now, but they soldiers is moving in silence. Y'all see what's been happening. It's been bodies that's been popping up that's been looking like us.
Yeah, man,
You know what
that's
I'm
true.
saying?
But this is what we're gonna do, Big E. We gonna shout out to Scoop for blessing us with a cash app. I'm gonna let you land, man, and then we gonna pretty much close this thing down. But what's your thoughts on closing thoughts on the P. Diddy, man? Because we had to cover everything because we speaking up for black men. We trying to let everybody know what time it is. Like the gang banging, the gang stuff is gonna catch up with you because back in the day, in the 90s and the early 2000s, the feds wasn't really picking up cases with gangbangers unless it was something serious. The feds will pick up a pistol charge on gang members now. So because they said they're tired of it. They're tired of gangbangers doing these state charges and coming home in 3 to 5. They're like, nah, we got to give them 10, 20 or better because 5 ain't enough. And if we give them 5, they come on with 60%. They ain't gonna learn their lesson. They're gonna be right back on the block, and it's the same thing. How can we shut these gangbangers down? We got to start giving them federal cases. Now with the P. Diddy situation, it's like, and I'm gonna let you give your spiel and land your plane, Biggie. With the P. Diddy situation, I've never seen a customer get charged with transportation of a prostitute. Those are charges like that are for pimps. So for a man who was just looking to get some sexual pleasure, and you're gonna charge him with the transportation of a prostitute, that's how they were just looking for any technicality to throw Diddy in the federal penitentiary. But you got it, bro.
Yeah, but see again, to me, this is something new to me because who don't want to be around a star? What I'm saying is, Hugh Hefner was the man. Magic Johnson was the man. You get what I'm saying? Like Magic will tell you the parties that Magic and them used to have free calls. Lawrence Taylor and them, used to get off that white, you know what I'm saying, That's what they all used to do. So, again, I don't even know why that we should, man, look, some of us need to be ashamed of ourselves because we ate it up like Puff was finna be through with money. Everybody was saying Puff not coming home just to be charged with this garbage. Puff is not no customer. Puff is the boss. Puff do not have to be laid up around no street walkers. Puff got the finest women from around this whole world throwing tail at him. So for them to try to make Puff like he a 2-bit little, like he a 2-bit little John, nah, champ, I'm not having that. This got something else to do with something else. He was a prominent black man. And again, I think he had dirt on some of the wrong people. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like, yeah, nigga, Negro, look what we could do to you. You know what I'm saying? We could wash you up. Or if you cooperate, you get what I'm saying? Because you remember they was telling you he was looking at forever. He ain't coming home. Block, 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 block. Just to get charged with that. And when you really look at what they found him guilty on, he should have been walking out the courtroom right now. If he's not pimping, right? If he wasn't doing none of that, then what are you giving him 4 years for? So that's on that. And on these as far as the street dudes them dudes is doing less time because they beating them charges. You get what I'm saying? Like they still got to go to court. Now you see what you just said, and I agree 100% with what you said, but it's like, nah, they know how to beat y'all. See, we can get somebody like Puff here and give him 4 years on the most basic trivial of charges. Now, what's surprising to me in this, I have never known the feds to go if Puffy is not Philmo Slim and he wasn't trafficking and doing none of that kind of stuff, I don't even see why the feds even went after this entertainer. Because again, a freak off is not illegal. You know what I'm saying? You busting up these men's back, that's not illegal. So what really was your motive? And Puff been doing this ever since the 90s? Nah, bro, that it ain't got nothing to do with that. They sensationalized all that just to smear his name, got him convicted of the most trivial of charges. Because guess what? Going forward, they're gonna just say S offenses. They're not gonna say what he was actually convicted of. They're gonna just say he was an S offender. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Even though
yeah,
he's not an S offender. So that's what the same thing with Cosby. He was
that's gonna
not
happen.
convicted of the R word. He wasn't convicted of that. But yet every time they calling him Pill Cosby, et cetera, et cetera.
It's
That's
still
all
gonna
it was
fall.
about.
It's still gonna fall in the same category as a sex crime. So, and it's tarnishing to your reputation, even though we know what it is. So it's just one of those unfortunate things. But yeah, Biggie, I appreciate you for pulling up, my brother, man.
Yeah, my girl here, I gotta bounce. Hey, y'all, salute to y'all. Enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Drink your water, eat your veggies.
Shout out to my man Big E for pulling up. You know, we had to talk. Me and Big E had to chop it up about some of those street politics. I'm gonna bring up Ms. Red. You know, Ms. Red. She knows more about this case than I do, because I'm a little behind with the technicalities of this case. But you know, she's up on game about all of that. So I'm gonna bring up Ms. Red. Ms. Red, where you at, baby?
Hello?
Where you? Okay, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. You got it. Hello. Hello. You got the flow. You got the flow, Miss Red.
Okay, I'm sorry. It keeps going in and out for me.
Okay.
So just bear with me. I'll make it quick. There was something very significant that the judge said um, right before he sentenced him. And I think it's rather important. And it's actually key. He said, "You are more than a John, and a significant sentence is required." That right there just goes to show you how they tried to use the Mann Act. Well, he knew that he could not pin him actually being a pimp on to Diddy, but in a way he tried to, which is why he said, "You are more than a John," because the Mann Act is supposed to be, rules and guidelines for the conviction of those that are, you know, actually pimping. And so I thought that that was interesting that he basically tried to use specific language to try and tie the Mann Act to him. So one thing after sentencing, they also issued him a $5,000 fine and a special assessment, and the cessation of assets that were involved. So I'm assuming that perhaps anything that would be involved in that, which typically for things like of this magnitude would be money. So the money or anything that was presented to him in order for the act to be committed. So what's crazy is, how are you going to cease anything when they didn't bring him anything on their behalf?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and because like a lot of people didn't know. I want you to break this down. We chopped it up about this earlier. I didn't know because like I'm just finding out a lot of things about this case. Like with Cassie, I was under the impression that Diddy just paid out of court because he felt like he was guilty. I want you to break it down to how what Cassie did to get this money. I think you went out again. Can you hear me?
Can you repeat that, babe? I'm sorry.
Oh, you know how Cassie got the money? Because I was under the impression that Diddy just said, "All right, I'm gonna settle out of court and just pay her." But you said, "No,
Okay,
that
if you
ain't what
guys
happened."
can hear me, it's weird on my end.
Loud and clear. We hear you
So
loud and
I'll
clear.
talk because I think you guys can probably hear me.
Yeah.
So basically, what happened with Cassie is that she sued Diddy's basically his estate. So she sued him as an employee. So Diddy didn't have to pay her out of pocket. That money came out of pocket through the insurance for his entity. So she sued him as an employee. She didn't sue his person. She sued the entity that he owns.
Mm, that's crazy. See, I didn't know that. I thought that he just settled out of court because of all the evidence, and yeah. So that's some game for everybody right there. And like with this situation right here, I believe he's gonna look for an appeal because Diddy is not prepared to serve time. This year alone took a toll on Diddy. Like serving doing this year in jail has taken a toll on Diddy. He loves he loves S in the city. You know what I mean? He loves getting money. He's a celebrity. He loves the spotlight. So being in prison without the fame and recognition is eating Diddy alive. These 4 years is going to take a toll on Diddy. Yeah. So, but go ahead. I think your connection might be going in and out, but go ahead, say something. If I can hear you, I'll let you know. I can't hear you right now. I really can't hear her right now, but this is what I'm gonna do.
Having a medium security.
This is what I'm gonna do. I got a clip right here. Somebody said that Diddy was attacked with a shank. I don't know how true it is, but check this out.
Diddy was attacked in jail with a.
Now this is the Truth Teller TV, man. Shout out to the Truth Teller TV. He's from Chicago, and he brings a lot of valuable information when it comes to the street. So let's see what he said about Diddy being Diddy getting attacked in jail with a shank. Family, let's see what he's talking about.
Diddy was attacked in jail with a shank. A motherfucker tried to hit him up in there. At least that's what his lawyer said to try to get him out. They were trying to get Diddy time served. He ended up getting 4 years. So I guess what 85% is time-free programs, maybe he get home earlier. But news of him being attacked in jail just broke. Hit the like button. Go on this video 1,000 likes. Brian Steele, that's Young Thug ex-lawyer. All the lawyers for the top celebrities who get in trouble. He said Diddy was attacked in jail by an inmate who came towards him with a shank, but luckily a guard was there to take the shank from the guy and stop it. Diddy could have been sliced up and killed. He also said that there's people inside that jail that want to hurt Diddy. They might be able to gain a reputation. So take all that into consideration for him to come home. That's crazy. News broke that Diddy jumped under a table when the news broke that he was going to get 50 months. Don't think he liked that, but I think he's okay with the fact that he only got to do a couple calendars. It's a lot of people saying this cap, this fake. Even 50 Cent spoke out and said this fake news and shit like that. So I don't know.
So I don't know, man. Ms. Red, you got the floor. You got it.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I had to come through another phone, so I'm on the screen twice here. Yeah, I didn't quite hear what you ended up saying at the end, but I think I left off with Cassie suing Diddy's or Sean Combs's business as an employee. But another thing I wanted to mention, which I thought was really interesting, was the fact that yesterday was Yom Kippur. And if anyone doesn't know, Yom Kippur is the Day of Atonement. And, when he sent that letter to the judge, it was perceived as a last resort attempt for leniency, showing repentance for his wrongdoing. And so we all know atonement means, to forgive and things of that nature. So it came after the prosecution stated that a substantial prison sentence was needed because he was unrepentant in the sentencing recommendation that was filed on Tuesday. And so I just thought that it held significant weight as far as to the date that fell on, which could have been deemed as, just coincidental, you know, especially when the questions that come to thought is if his letter to the judge was a psyop or if it were a true response of his feelings and if he was really, actually reformed. Um, but given his sentence, um, it was light. It was light. And I say that because they were going for what, 11 years? 11 years total. And he ended up getting 4, which he'll have to serve what, about approximately 85% of that. And then minus time served, which would be 14 months. And so I guess that, rounds out to about 3 years. So some people say he got a little slap on the wrist. And honestly, that's a better deal than him getting 11 years. So I guess we'll know more information if they're going to appeal or if they're going to decide to take it to the Supreme Court, because earlier this morning, that's what his lawyers were threatening to do. So I guess we'll see how it plays out in a
Yeah.
little bit. And yeah, I just thought that was an interesting take as far as the spiritual aspect. If, the creator really had his hands on him a little bit. And I think, in a way, the judge did show him a bit of leniency. Um, and I know that some people are like, he shouldn't have gotten any time. He just should have walked. I get it, but it's still better. The hand that he was dealt was better than 11 years.
Yeah, it's better than 11 years because he dodged the sex trafficking, so that was going to get him life in prison. So he dodged that, and then he dodged the 11 years. So 4 years, I don't think he's going to do the whole 4 years. They're going to work something out. They're going to come up for an appeal. But Diddy's stressed out because Diddy's just ready to get this over with. He's ready to come back to his family. He's ready to get back to the money. So he's depressed. He's on suicide watch. He's depressed. They said he damn near fell out in court. He damn near fainted. He damn near fainted once he heard he got 4 years because he was thinking that he was going to get out. So that 4 years was devastating, man. He almost fainted. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Most definitely better than the 135-month sentence they were trying to put on him. But the judge did say that he felt that that 135-month sentence would be more than necessary. And so I'm pretty sure in the courthouse at the point you could probably hear a pin drop. And
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
yeah.
his mouth fell straight on the floor. So
Yeah,
um,
his kids was there too, so his kids was emotional, and once he seen his kids get emotional, that done something to his spirit. So right now, Diddy is he's going through it, man. He's going through it. You got to go back to that jail cell. You away from your family. You can't get to the money. Most definitely, he's on suicide watch, and he's gonna get transported to prison maybe in the next 30 days or so. You know what I mean? Because right now you're in a holding facility. When you're in those holding facilities, you're going to court. Now, once you get sentenced, you get sent off to federal prison. So it's a matter of time before he gets shipped to federal prison for sure.
right, right. And I mean, it definitely comes almost as a surprise, maybe for most, because the judge earlier did decline to apply that enhancement. So that was around 8 o'clock this morning. So we knew at that point that he wouldn't serve the 20 years. And so, yeah, like a lot of the information that the news, that big media was giving out was actually um, they were pretty behind up until the last minute. Um, but yeah, so I was afraid, like, okay, judges say this all the time, but he still could possibly throw the book at him, and he didn't throw the book at him. And so actually, this judge is actually, deemed a really brilliant man. He's very well esteemed and very impartial. So even though I think this guy was appointed by Joe Biden in 2023, I think maybe he actually really is a really good choice, despite him being, appointed by a Democrat. But we know that the judges are supposed to be impartial. And for him, um, this case was a lot for him. He could have really been putting his reputation on the line. This is his very first high-profile case as a judicial assignment. and he's actually the first South Asian judge in this court. So, it was a lot for him.
Yeah, that's it's crazy, man. But you know what I'm saying. We definitely gonna wrap this thing up, baby. You know what I'm saying. I appreciate you for your commentary and everything. So uh I'm gonna let you give your closing thoughts. So we monetize now, man. All my shorts are monetized. They just monetized the last stream that I did on Diddy, and this one is on the way to get monetized. So yeah, man, we're definitely making moves, man. And I got True Spoken podcast where we're gonna do short content over there. We're gonna monetize that, but I'm gonna let Miss Red give her closing thoughts on the situation with Diddy and everything that's going on. You got it, baby.
I don't really think I have much of anything to say to close, but you guys really just stay vigilant out here. It's a lot of things, it's a lot of changes that are happening through legislation right now. And it's paramount that you guys just be careful.
All right, well, we're gonna wrap this thing up, man. Be safe. Um, use knowledge and wisdom. Don't allow never allow your emotions to govern your actions. And we're gonna keep it moving. You know what I mean? Game is knowledge that you can't get in college. Game is uncommon information. Game is knowledge that you can't get taught in college. It is what it is. So we're gonna get up out of here, y'all. Make sure that you guys bless the like button. It ain't nothing. Support the stream. It's your play upon the Red Supreme. Support the show in a major way. We gotta get up out of here, y'all. I'll be back with some more content. Maybe I'll drop some more short